What's his name? Who played Joffrey?
Oh, Jack Gleason.
I think you're right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I disliked Joffrey so much. It took me a while to put together, like emotionally, that the actor was just pretending.
I think
there's no way. He retired. He was like he's like, I don't really want to be an actor. And when
too many people attempted to molest me.
Probably that. He had this whole I don't know what they call it. There's this thing in England where they go to this college or something and they speak where a lot of like, I don't know, maybe Shakespeare spoke there or something, and they do like these, it's almost like a proper TED talk but the English version, and they just kind of talk about and he did one where he was just sort of talking about his career and what it was like playing that character and dealing with the world hating that character so much. It is one of the all-time best villains. It's top 3 for me. That Umbridge bitch from Harry Potter though, that's my most hated villain of all time. I hate that person so much.
The one in
Pink?
Pink?
Yeah. Like if she was like a big dude with like a black cape on, you'd be like, I mean, that cape's kind of chill. I don't know about that. He is, dude, works out. Look at him. But it's this little old with a pink tea set torturing children for fun. It's just because she likes the power and the thrill of it. Like, just evil, super evil.
Yeah. She sounds cool.
She's like an evil HR manager, where she's figured out how she can abuse kids without getting,
like Darth. And you might be like, no, Darth Vader. Darth Vader's not evil. Darth Vader's just misguided, right? Like he never like went and tortured somebody for funsies. He's always got a goal, and it's always to make.
Didn't he kill all those kids or something?
He had to.
Oh, okay.
Why
he didn't torture them though. He didn't like burn them alive. He just cut all their heads off. Well, he went to the Jedi temple and just killed.
And then they're like, Master, what do we do? And then he goes, bzzz. That's all. And then he just kills them all.
That was a hard ass scene when he killed all those little kids. That was when Star Wars was.
Do you think that was necessary though?
For what?
For like his goals.
Yeah. He had orders to take them all out. They wanted all the Jedis gone so they could consolidate power over the Galactic Empire.
I would kidnap the Jedis, make my Sith army more powerful over time.
They did that. In the new stuff, they're like, oh, and 5,000 Jedi escaped, so they all get stories now. So because they're making tons and tons of more Star Wars properties. I'm not gonna watch any more Star Wars stuff. No, I'm not watching any more Star Wars stuff. I'm done with that. But the Game of Thrones shit, I'll admit, it's dragging me back in. I
didn't see the finale. Was it good?
No, it's bad. I haven't seen it, but everybody's saying it's bad. I don't care that it's bad. I'm more into the universe. I'm trying to view Game of Thrones as a universe where fun stuff can happen and I can just enjoy the little stories and characters. There's another show coming called like Night of the Seven Kingdoms or something like that. I think there's 3 or 4 more in production. They're going to make a fucking universe over there.
Is Kit Harington going to get a show? I thought he
was. So I wanted to
so
bad. I wanted a show where Kit Harington was with that redheaded wildling guy, and and they were just running around north of the wall doing cool shit.
But can I tell you about the final episode of season 2 without spoiling it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah,
it is a teaser for season 3. Whatever you know about the universe right now is exactly as much as you will know at the end of that episode. There's like no developments really. There's like one-ish, but yeah.
I thought
every once in a while I'll catch a spoiler for a show I'm watching on the internet, and then I watch shows with my wife and I pretend that I guessed it successfully.
Nice. Like, I don't know, Jackie. I think around 43 minutes, this guy's going to be toast.
You did it again.
How are you time stamping like that?
I like the universe. I like the magic, and I like the fucking swords and shit. I really like the end of the last episode when Rhaenyra, is that her name? Is that the blonde queen's name? When Rhaenyra's standing there with like her 3 or 4 giant dragons and her new dragon riders, and she's giving the mean face. Like I was like, yeah, give him the mean face. I was like, that's pretty cool. And then, but I heard the last episode's not great. That it almost feels like there should be feels like the penultimate episode of a good season.
Everybody's saying that the last dragon riders was where it should have ended. Like that mean face on the cliff was where the season should have been done. And after watching this last one, I agree. Like it's
So Taylor, I'll spoil a bit of House of Dragons. So they've got this problem. They got a lot of dragons because they've been breeding them forever. But you really need like a Neo type character to ride one of these dragons, and he has to have pure blood or whatever, or like Targaryen blood or Valyrian blood maybe too. And so that they're all out of people. There's only so many kids. And she's like, I got all these dragons and nobody to ride them. Sir Eric, or whatever the fuck your name is, I've been looking through the paperwork and you're 164th Targaryen. He's like, oh, wonderful, my queen. Would you like a dragon? He's like, oh, I guess. Because the process of finding out if the dragon will accept you is a life or death thing. The dragon either bows to you or burns you. At least that's what I've seen so far. I think maybe one of the queen's daughters, that little black girl, had an issue, but she survived because she's a main character and she's got plot armor. But everybody else, the dragon either bows or it fucking kills you. Sir Eric goes in there and fucking roasts him alive. And a couple of bystanders just for funsies. I guess he's not accurate with the fire. And these are big dragons she's got on the bench. So her like buddy comes up with this idea. She's like, I used to work in a whorehouse. Tons of bastards out there from all these Targaryen princes, everywhere. And so they put out the word to the whorehouses, like any Targaryen bastards, come to the castle and see if you can ride a dragon. They literally just put it out there. They don't lie, they don't mislead people. And there's like 50 of them in a room, and they all go up to the dragon, and the dragon goes ham. It just starts burning them all alive until you get down to 2 guys who actually can ride the dragons. And suddenly she goes from 1 dragon to 3. And it's a cool scene at the end where the bad guy shows up and he's like, oh no. And he's like trying so hard to turn his dragon around because there's
more dragons. It seems like this is a show entirely about dragons.
Well, this show is about the death of the dragons from the world, and everybody's going to die at the end of this show. Everybody's going to die. Like this is a Shakespearean tragedy. This isn't like a good guy winning at the end kind of thing. Yeah. This is setting
I know something's gonna happen because there were some black Targaryens, and then I saw Game of Thrones. None of those. Those must all die out, huh? Yeah, something happens.
What happened to
there's someone that's a little too blonde that shows up between them and shuts that down.
Yeah, it's pretty. Of the people that died, you could see. So Targaryens have a distinctive look. They have very long blonde hair. And blonde hair is not common in this universe if you're not a Targaryen. And sure enough, all these people are Targaryens. Like, I think they were legit bastards, but the dragon didn't like them.
Didn't like them.
They won't get me again. And it seems like you guys are already on the downturn of this show too, realizing it's not going to be as good.
I'm buckled in. This is a ride. Okay. Like the fact that it's so there's shows like From, that's like that little independent show that we kind of like, but it's been jerking us around. I ain't going to watch no more of From because that's like a $300,000 an episode type bullshit. But this is a $21 million an episode. Every episode is like a little movie. And when they show those dragons, it looks cool. And I like 2 or 3 of the characters. There's like 2 or 3 characters I like. I like Rhaenyra. She's fucking ripped, by the way. I don't know what her workout routine is, but she's got all sorts of like muscles bulging out from under her.
I think the actress is trans.
Not trans, but like intersex or something. She's a they, them, I think.
Oh, yeah. I saw the pronoun game. I didn't really know what was up with that.
Yeah. And then Matt Smith, the former Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I only like Matt Smith, Doctor Who. I don't watch any of that other shit. I dig him whenever he's on screen. And then there's a character that's supposedly 16, but he looks 30 and he's got an eye patch. That guy's hard as fuck. Every time he's on screen, I'm intrigued. I'm waiting for him to be me. I don't know. You don't know the extent of his cruelty and malice yet, but I think it's gonna be fun to see him go.
Seems to have no limits.
No, he did his brother in like that and kind of enjoyed it.
And
stole his little knife.
The strong boy, right?
Strong boy.
They met in the air on Dragons in season 1.
Oh sure, yeah. Well, he didn't mean to do that. That was the dragon getting over. Yeah. Like you could tell. So after he does it, he's like, "Fuck! Why?" Like to his dragon. The dragon went hard, but he was just looking to spook the guy.
I'm sure you're right. I didn't see that though. To me, didn't he like head out on his dragon and chase the kid down and catch him in midair and bite him in 2 and murder him?
For sure, but there wasn't a struggle to it. It was just he was after him. He was chasing him, but you could see the look on his face when he killed the kid. He was like, "Oh, well, I thought we'd rough him up a little.
Okay,
I thought we'd put a good scare in him. I didn't know we were going to eat him and scatter his flesh across the beach." But that seems to have been the game. Yeah, I'm still into the show. Taylor develops a little bit of hatred for shows sometimes. He's I don't know what racism is for TV shows, but it seems like once you get that mean and hateful grudge in you don't never.
Dude, I spent 8 years watching Game of Thrones and none of it ended up mattering. And so they said, we're making another Game of Thrones show. Tee-hee. And I said, I'm not watching it. I don't think that's hatred. I think that's like, I'm a kicked
principles.
Dog, and
you're only digging deeper, again. Bigot.
I'm bigoted against remakes of shows that they didn't even do well the first time. If they made a Sopranos 2, if they exhume Tony and they get him back in the mix.
Did you see that abomination of a Sopranos movie they made?
I do. Yeah. The one about Tony's son.
It was like Sons of Newark or something like that.
Tony's dead. Tony was such a big part of the Sopranos.
They did a prequel. They used his son to play Tony. It was awful. It's terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure it was because Tony wasn't in it. Like,
look, I like the dragons, man. I don't know. I like the fucking dragons, and I guess I can stomach. I said I like the dragons.
He likes the dragons.
I heard I like to fuck the dragons.
I'd love to fuck I like the fucking dragons. I like my real complaint about that show has nothing to do with dragon
nudity.
It's not the wokeness.
Oh, there's tons of dragon nudity.
It's not the Black Targaryens so much, although I just find the Black Targaryens confusing. The thing I don't like
about is like an ethnic line with mixed race people in the family. That's not confusing and convoluted and difficult.
I don't know where they came from. I'd like to read some backstory. I need the Cliff Notes or something to understand where they came from. But what I really miss is all the
hilariously inbred. Like it's very odd to have these two lines, but hey,
it
specifically, Kyle,
sense.
The female nudity, because they're hitting their targets with the male nudity, but that's
hitting
not
them
what
right
I'm
down the middle,
for.
Dude. They're batting like 800.
You guys agreed with my edict last episode.
Yes. Did you say 10-1 or 100
to 1? For every instance of male nudity in television, it must be balanced out by 8 instances of female nudity.
Do you know how many actresses in the original Game of Thrones series were porn stars or nude models? Like
I know that Tyrion's bitch, right?
Dozens. Like there were Roz was I think also a real prostitute. But anytime they would have like an orgy scene or they would have like a whorehouse scene where there's like 8 girls standing there naked, they would be porn stars or like nude models or like strippers or something. So everybody was fine with getting naked. And I miss all that nudity. I miss those titties.
Yeah. I'd rather have
Roz
titties.
flashed her pussy in season 1. Do you remember that? She was like,
yeah, I remember. I could detail the scene for you.
Yeah.
Poor Theon was afraid that he would miss her. And Theon, yeah. So he flipped her a coin for one last view at that beaver. And she lifted her skirt while riding away on the wagon, pointed backwards.
Meanwhile, there's like main character white guys with beards 8 seasons in. Woody's like, now is this Boromir? Like,
I couldn't tell you how Ned Stark died, but ask me about her labia.
Rain Man, he can tell you how her pussy hair was cut in that scene on the cart. He can tell you how many apples were sitting next to her.
Oh, that's actually a controversy, by the way. All right, so I don't remember her name, but there was a wildling woman in the later seasons who was like leading Bran around and when he was on his adventures. Remember that?
Oh, yes, yeah. She had scraggly hair.
Yeah, she was kind of pretty. Oh, she wanted to grow her. She had to do a nude scene, and she was like, "I should grow my bush out, right? Because I'm a wildling woman, so we should either grow it out or put on a merkin." And they're like, "No, actually, trim it a little more.
Trim it a little more. You're a savage, but you're not a beast. You know."
She was like,
D giving us the hookup.
They literally did that, and that was. I felt like that was kind of an example of a little bullshit, right? Because I'm always preaching that I want things to be like the characters should be and whatever. So like, yeah, she should have a big old beaver if she's a wildling woman. Yeah. I can't imagine a wildling woman with like a landing strip. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Armpit hair. Like she should be hairy. She's a wildling savage.
She's just shaved down there, I think, if I remember correctly. She's definitely not. Merkin is one of my favorite vocabulary words, by the way. Merkin is a pussy wig.
Is it just a pussy wig or is it any kind of pubic wig?
It was originally a pussy wig because it came from a time when whorehouses had to shave their pubic hair because of like the pubic lice issue. But that was but you wanted to, it was a bad look to have it shaved because they knew you'd had pubic lice. So you'd throw on a fake bush,
Doesn't that just defeat the purpose of not having a place for lice to live, or am I mistaken?
I don't think the lice enjoy the merkin. I don't know
what it was. A show bush.
was a
Like,
show bush. It's
yeah.
definitely a cover up for like stage and film. Whenever, oftentimes, whenever there's going to be bottomless ladies, they'll throw on a. Although
That's how
to
I
me
see
more,
it. It's cheating. They make you
If-
think that you're seeing it, but really you're just seeing a big old wig.
I see that as well. It's a little bit of a lie, and we hate liars here.
Mm-hmm.
Just show
If we
your pussy,
become
man.
president, we'll put a stop to that.
Like,
you remember the Unsullied from Game of Thrones? That little low stance they get over the spear with that little notch in it.
yeah,
I watched that season twice. Okay,
that's
and
true.
I
How
picked
many
up a
bears
thing or
did
two.
they kill?
Oh, they'd have slain a cave of bears, a whole den worth if they needed. You know, I'm sure they were feasting upon bear every night. They just took so little note of it that it wasn't a storyline. Yeah, I'm sure.
I felt so bad for all those Unsullied
Because the penis and
because of
balls
the
being
penis
taken
and the
away?
ball situation.
Yeah,
I think they
that's
had their penises because
I
that
think
would
so,
just be
too.
like inconvenient.
insult
for
to
them.
injury. Yeah, you don't need that.
No, I mean like they need them to pee standing up on the go on the march, and so like.
Well,
but
might
they
just-
also apparently wanted the weakest, most hairless, effeminate warrior class of like historically the eunuch class are like a useful class of bureaucrats for kings and queens. Like that's what they
today
are.
they just call
That's
them
what the eunuch
politicians.
class is.
Oh,
The eunuch class is not a class of warriors.
What if they just cut the head off?
ooh, why would they do that?
That's just I hate that.
Well, they definitely
Man,
took
can you
the balls.
imagine if something similar to that was like commonplace in America and people didn't realize how grotesque and evil it was?
Couldn't
Wild.
imagine.
Couldn't imagine that. Couldn't imagine apologists for that.
Take a step back, sir.
Dude, there's
good
a-
look in the mirror. You-